In boxing, everything can happen, right?
Cinnabon is done. Cinnabon is done.
Anything else, I didn't have no worries this camp.
Both guys are under a lot of pressure. You know, you got the Mexicans, you got Mexican Independence Day.
For half the fighter's life.
Conocí a Saúl cuando era...
One of Canelo's strengths is his strength. It is his power.
With the fight just a few days away, Canelo Alvarez turned up the intensity, vowing brutally to end Terrence Crawford with a knockout statement. Furthermore, Canelo Alvarez acknowledged that Crawford's corner might have to consider throwing in the towel to save Crawford from the punishment Canelo plans to deliver. Canelo stated confidently that he will knock Crawford out, but also reminded that in boxing, anything can happen.
We need to wait to Saturday, September 13, right?
What do you think of this picture?
He looks good, but I like it because, you know, it's when you realize it's going to be a good fight.
Some people were saying it's a fake picture, but...
I don't know, but...
Robert Diaz said that he thinks Bomac might throw the towel in to stop the fight.
Oh, could be. In boxing, everything can happen, right?
Do you believe you knock him out?
Yeah.
In response, Terrence Crawford fired back at Canelo Alvarez with confidence, declaring that he feels in peak condition and refuses to allow Canelo at any edge. Crawford explained that everything is aligned perfectly for him in this camp, pointing out that he did not have to cut weight or stress over weight management.
Well, I felt great. You know, especially not having to lose weight and worry about weight and things like that, and worry about what I do in strength condition or anything else. I didn't have no worries this camp.
You know, I always had that belief that I was great. You know, I just needed the opportunity.
Building on that, he emphasized that his focus has been solely on sharpening his strength and conditioning, leaving him fully prepared for the challenge ahead.
Becoming 3-time undisputed.
Yeah.
You know, doing something that's never been done before. You know, I think that would be bigger because when you look at the landscape of apples to apples, Canelo's been beat before. There's never been a man boxer to become 3-time undisputed champion. I was the first to become 2-time undisputed, you know. Now I'm looking to become the first to be 3-time.
Well, you know, history stands in front of me, you know, and legacy. All the great fighters, you know, rose in times like this, and I'm looking forward to doing the same.
Meanwhile, Canelo Alvarez thanked Jaron Boots Ennis for stepping into the ring to help him prepare for Terrence Crawford. He shared that their history goes back 14 years, when Ennis' older brother assisted him in camp for Shane Mosley and Alfonso Gomez. Canelo expressed gratitude, noting that Boots took time out to help him and that he truly appreciates that support.
He helped me really good, and I'm very grateful with him. We have history because 14 years ago, his older brother, Ennis, helped me for when I fought Shane Mosley and Alfonso Gomez. So that's why we have history with the Ennis family, and I'm very grateful with him taking the time and go there and give me some work.
Adding to that point, Canelo Alvarez said that having Jaron Ennis in camp was a huge benefit, because his fighting style is similar to Terrence Crawford's. He explained that Boots is fast, highly skilled, and a very good fighter, making him an ideal partner to work with in preparation for this matchup.
His team, he's very similar to Crawford. He switch guards too. He's fast, and he's a pretty good fighter, so I work really good with him.
Moreover, Canelo stated that while he has been in many big fights, this one with Terrence Crawford feels different because of its magnitude. The hype surrounding it, the parties involved, and the massive stage at Allegiant Stadium. He praised the authorities for ensuring the fight takes place in America, emphasizing that a matchup of this scale belongs here.
I've been in big fights, in many big fights, but this fight especially is different. You can see the magnitude of the fight. No, it's Netflix, Riyadh season. Everything around the fight is, you can see how big it is, and for me means a lot. Means a lot this fight, and thank you to Riyadh season, to Turki Al-Ashi, Crown Prince, to bring this fight to America, because I think this kind of fight need to be here.
To ease the tension, Canelo urged fans to relax and enjoy the moment, reminding them that this is the kind of event they won't get to experience often.
I feel grateful with them, and I just want to tell the people, enjoy this fight because it's huge. Look this how big and how beautiful looks boxing like this. So I wanna see boxing.
On the other hand, Terrence Crawford stated that it feels incredible to be part of such a massive event and to be the man headlining a once-in-a-lifetime fight. He admitted that this is the kind of stage he should have been on a long time ago, adding that it feels great to finally be where he's always believed he belonged.
Definitely frustrating, you know, when you putting your all in something and you see people that does half of what you do get the biggest opportunities and they name get called and things like that, and you sitting on the sideline like, man, you know what I mean? It's definitely not a good feeling because you know where you belong. And when your number or your name finally do get called and you show the world like, I've been here.
Well, it feels great, you know. It's a feeling that, you know, I should have been here a long time ago, but at the same time, you know, it's great to finally get to where I know that I should have been. Mm-hmm. Me and Canelo would be in the same ring together. Mm-hmm. But then again, I thought me and Pacquiao would be. Mm-hmm. So, you know, with boxing, you got to expect the unexpected, you know, at times. So we here now. I'm excited, and I'm about to, you know, go out there and do my thing and become the 3-time undisputed champion of the world.
In support, Terrence Crawford's trainer Brian Bomack McIntyre highlighted that the decisive factor will be fight intelligence. He explained that Crawford is prepared to apply pressure while switching styles, something he has consistently done throughout his career. In contrast, he noted that Canelo rarely makes significant adjustments and tends to approach his bouts similarly, and according to Bomack, the key difference in fight night will come down to superior ring IQ.
It's a great opportunity. It's a great chance for the team, man, to show that, you know, how hard we've been grinding in the gym and how hard we've been grinding for all the years to get to this point. I'm excited. I know Terrence is excited. I know the rest of the team is excited. I think the difference is the IQ. Because if you look at Canelo, he's been fighting a certain way for a certain amount of years. Look at Bud, he's been fighting. He'll change his style in the midst of the fight. I think the IQ is just going to be the factor.
Bomack stressed once again that ring intelligence will be the defining factor regardless of size. He pointed out that whether it comes down to counterpunching, leading footwork, and applying pressure, it will ultimately be IQ that decides the fight. He acknowledged that Canelo may look to press and counter, but reminded that in those moments, effectiveness is just as important as the attempt itself.
I think the IQ is what's going to be the factor in the fight. The IQ, even if it's counterpunching, if it's the lead, if it's footwork or whatever, if it's pressing, it's going to be the IQ. You know, can he press effectively? Can he counterpunch effectively? You know what I'm saying? You can do all that and not be effective. So that's where IQ comes in.
Interestingly, Paulie Malignaggi raised doubts about whether Crawford can withstand Canelo's power at this weight. He noted that nobody questions if Canelo can take Crawford's shots because the answer is already clear. Even if Canelo is no longer the fighter he once was, Malignaggi stressed that Crawford is not stepping into the ring with the version of Canelo who used to topple big names, but rather with a Canelo whose main advantage now lies in sheer size.
I think that's probably always been a discussion, I think, Jimmy, because, you know, can he last at this weight taking a Canelo punch? Nobody's talking about the other side of this, though, bro. This ain't the same Canelo. Like, it's not been the same Canelo in a while. Like, he's fighting a bigger Canelo, but he's not fighting the Canelo that beat Callum Smith. He's not fighting the Canelo that beat Caleb Plant. You know, he's fighting the guy who looked like he kind of sucked against William Skull. You know what I mean? He looked like he's fighting a guy who fought Edgar Berlanga, who has still yet to prove he's even world class, Edgar Berlanga, you know? Or, I don't know, you know, he fought Jaime Munguia, who then got beat by a complete unknown after that in the next fight. So, is he still less than this very average Canelo? Canelo's been very average for a while now.
However, Paulie did not hold back in his criticism of Canelo, arguing that while Mexican star has displayed moments of skill, he is largely overrated. Malignaggi insisted that Canelo does not belong among the legendary Mexican fighters who left a lasting impact on the sport. Still, he acknowledged that it cannot be denied that Canelo has held his place as a champion for a considerable period of time.
I fully admit there's been moments in Canelo's career where he's shown he's world class. Do I think he's overrated? Absolutely. I think he's always been overrated. But that doesn't mean I don't think he's world class. Like, you know, I just don't think he's among those great Mexican fighters that I grew up to know and love, you know? And we all grew up to know and love. I don't think he's in that conversation with those people. But he's been a world-class fighter and champion. I don't think he's anywhere near that level. You know what I mean? Even... like, you're talking about, say, the Golovkin fights, for example, the first two Golovkin fights, because the third one he aged them out, but the first two Golovkin fights, where it was an aged Golovkin, and I didn't think Canelo won either of the first two fights, but he still, especially in the second fight, fought well, you know?
Chris Algieri added his perspective, pointing out that neither Crawford nor Canelo is currently at their peak. He reminded that both are coming off subpar performances, with this being Crawford's debut at super middleweight. Even so, Algieri stressed that Canelo remains the naturally bigger man, still carries respectable punching power, and continues to possess a granite chin that has defined much of his career.
Yeah, well, it adds a lot of questions to the fight because neither one of these guys are at the peak of their careers. We've got a 37 going on 38-year-old Terrence Crawford coming off of a subpar performance against Madrimov, which was his first fight at 54. Now this is his first fight at 168. We're not getting peak Crawford either. And champ, I agree with you. We're not getting peak Canelo either. But at the end of the day, he's still the bigger man. He's still a good puncher. He was still knocking these guys down. He's the guys who actually stand and fight him, unlike Skull. But and he still has a great chin. Crawford, Canelo has possibly, arguably, the best chin in boxing today. The guy spent 36 rounds with Gennady Golovkin, who's a killer puncher.
Additionally, Chris went further by presenting evidence of Canelo's durability, calling his chin one of the best in boxing. He underscored this by listing the elite names who have landed heavy, clean shots in Canelo over the years, yet failed to break through his iron resistance.
He took the best shots from Danny Jacobs, who's a very good puncher. He took the best shots from Sergey Kovalev at 175. He took the best shots from Dmitry Bivol at 175. And as much as he was disarmed by Bivol and his abilities, he never seems really hurt or in danger of being stopped in the fight. So in terms of durability, that's not going away for Canelo. The guy's a tank, and you got Crawford who's coming up in weight. But it begs to ask those questions. What version of Crawford are we going to get? And those can't be answered because we've never seen him at this weight. We're seeing these pictures of him coming out with this new physique, but we really haven't seen a lot of him boxing at this weight. We haven't really seen how he's been moving. We haven't seen really what his game plan is going to be. And that's one thing about Bomac and Crawford and that team.
Adding to the voices of expectation, Teofimo Lopez stated that both Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford are under immense pressure heading into this fight, noting that it falls on Mexican Independence Weekend. He pointed out that the September always seems to work out for Alvarez, but stressed that ultimately the outcome will come down to who wants it more and who can cement their name as the best of this era.
Both guys are under a lot of pressure. You got the Mexicans, you got Mexican Independence Day, Mexican Independence Weekend. You got Canelo Alvarez. This is his time of the time when he fights. September is his, no one else's. Yeah. And then Crawford going up 2, possibly 3 weight classes to fight, Canelo Alvarez, the undisputed super middleweight world champion. Man, it's all about who wants it more and who wants to finish, in the cream of the crop. The best to ever see of this era.
In agreement with Alvarez's chances, Wade Plemons cited several reasons why he believes Canelo Alvarez will win this fight. He stated that Canelo is the naturally bigger fighter with more experience at higher weight classes, having faced some of the biggest names at 160 and 175.
Canelo is the bigger fighter, and what do I mean by that? He is more experienced at 168 pounds, meaning he has fought at the higher weight class for far longer. He has fought some of the biggest names and the most experienced guys at this weight class, 160 and 175 in this era. He has a more natural aptitude for 168 when it comes to his frame, right? Look at Canelo and look at Terrence Crawford.
Furthermore, Wade added that Canelo has a more natural aptitude for handling his frame, giving him a significant advantage over Terrence Crawford.
Canelo, just more dense, more solid. and fills into the weight a little better. Now, that is a clear benefit to Canelo, and I want you guys to understand why. He has felt the punches of Kovalev. He's felt the punches of Triple G. He's felt the punches of Dimitri Bivol, who's not a massive power puncher, but he still hit Canelo with a lot of shit at 175 pounds. He has felt and not been at any point really hurt by those power punchers. And even boxers, he's found a way to maneuver past them and end up either hurting them, winning, decisions that are clearly one-sided, or stopping them. That has been Canelo's bread and butter when he's made this move to 168 and 170.
Wade emphasized that one of Canelo's greatest assets is his natural power. He noted that even as a teenager, Canelo was known for knocking out grown men in sparring, and that raw strength has followed him throughout every stage of his career as he climbed through the weight classes.
One of Canelo's strengths is his strength. It is his power. Even when Canelo was a young lad, a young Canelito, aka Cinnamon, growing up in Mexico, you hear Eddie Reynoso and Eddie Reynoso's father, who trained Canelo first, talk about how he was a big kid for his age. He was muscled up at 13, 14 when he started boxing in the gyms of Guadalajara. He was knocking out grown men by the age of 15, 16. And I know Terrence Crawford was doing the same over in Omaha, Nebraska. My point is, Canelo has always carried some power, carried some strength, carried some devastation in his hands, and that's gone up with him. And I know that people have questioned that because who really carries that kind of power going up? But Canelo's been able to do it.
However, prominent American sportscaster Jim Gray described this matchup as the kind of fight fans have long been waiting for, noting how rare it is to see such clashes in modern boxing. He highlighted that the bout features an undefeated champion going up against the fighter who has been the face of the sport for years. Gray emphasized that the event is not only a major spectacle, but also a significant moment for the institution of boxing itself.
Well, it's the fight that everybody's wanted, and we rarely get that anymore. So we have an undefeated guy against the guy who's been, the face of boxing for an awful long time. He's been in every big fight, a lot of big fights for the past 10, 12 years. And so now we're getting them together, even though there is a division in weights, and of course Crawford's moving up. So, but this is what everybody wanted, and it's rare in boxing we get that anymore. So I think it's great for the institution to have this at Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play with 55, 65, 70,000 people, however many show up. This is just a huge, huge event for boxing. So it's great to happen, and it's great that it's happening in Las Vegas where so many other big fights have taken place.
Moreover, Jim noted that Crawford appears well prepared and ready for the challenge against Canelo, but he cautioned that moving up in weight always carries risks. He explained that history has shown many examples of fighters losing their reflexes and sharpness as they climb divisions, while others have managed to thrive. Gray stressed that this unpredictability is exactly why fights happen in the ring, and while plenty of people may claim to know the outcome, the reality is that no one can say for certain.
Well, he seems to be prepared and ready for it, and yes, there is that danger. Look at what happened when Canelo moved up in weight against Bivol. So, there's a lot of examples, and there's examples the other way as well. So, it's hard to predict what is going to happen in a fight. That is why they fight. So for anybody to say they have a crystal ball and they know, I suggest they go down the hall here, because if they know it now, they'll end up leaving a heck of a lot more money in their pocket, and they'll be able to have that reading from that crystal ball. So nobody knows until they fight. Everybody has a plan, like Mike Tyson said, until they get punched in the mouth. So we'll see what happens.
Adding to that, Joe Jordy weighed in with concerns over Crawford's jump and weight, stressing that such a significant increase often changes a fighter's performance. He pointed out that in the past, fighters who carried too much extra weight lost the sharpness that once made them dangerous. According to him, the reflexes slow down, the fatigue sets in faster, and the same could very well happen to Crawford in this fight.
That much weight. We're talking about, I think he started at 135. We're talking a lot of weight now. And what I've seen in the past is certain fighters, when they're carrying at this weight range, when they go a little too heavy, they lose some of the magic that made them as devastating. They're not quite as quick, they're not quite as fit. Often in the later rounds, when they're carrying the extra muscle, you're seeing them and you're not used to this.
With fight night just around the corner, the stage is set for one of boxing's most anticipated showdowns in recent history. Canelo Alvarez enters with the confidence of a seasoned champion and the power to end things brutally, while Terrence Crawford arrives with unshakable self-belief, peak conditioning, and a camp that insists his ring IQ will be the difference. So all that is left is for these guys to come inside the ring and perform. If you guys enjoyed the video and want to get the latest updates in Canelo vs. Crawford, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We want to hear from you, too. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.